And we're live. Howdy, I'm Matt. And I was hiding over there at the desktop. Welcome to this live episode. Now, I am going to just quickly sign into the iPad very quickly. While I'm doing that, give you a heads up, this is being recorded live. And in this live session, it's part 2. And we're going to be running through every single RC model which I own. Now, I would like to say very clearly from the off, that none of the models which you're about to see were sent to me for review. They're all bought out of my own money. I kind of have a bit of RC foam fetish. And as such, if you've got any questions about any of the models which you see here, please just ask, because I will give you a very honest and probably quite blunt reply, if I'm on it, for them. Now, I would like for you to get involved. What we did the last time in part 1, and if you haven't seen part 1, I will put a link to the top right-hand corner of your screen. So that Brian, apologies for making you jump. You can see that there's a live chat going on underneath here, and you'll be able to see the comments which are coming in live. And I'm looking down here at the iPad. Now, those of you which are on live, if you can let me know if the audio is good, that'd be fantastic. Now, like I said, I'd like for you to get you involved in these. And what we did in the previous live event is that what we're going to do, we're going to rate each model for its looks on a scale to 1 to 10. So if it's but ugly, then we're going to rate it a 1. If we think it's pretty damn cool, we're going to rate it a 10. We're also going to rate it on how it flies as well. So if it flies like a complete dog, then it's probably not going to be in this orifice. So at that point, that said, if it flies fantastically well, like amazingly, then we're going to probably rate it a 10 or somewhere around that area. And price, we're going to rate it on price as well. How much was it, or how much is it to you today if you were to buy one? And crucially, the big factor which I like to use is that if I stuffed, say, the Wingwing Z84 in the ground, would I go and buy another one? That's my biggest acid test, which you can use to walk away with. Now, there was a bit of a comment from Mr. T and Mr. Snafu from the previous live event which we did about me being a bit mean to the Falcon wing. And I was pretty mean to it because the lid blew off it. And if the lid didn't blow off it, then maybe I wouldn't have rated it so badly. But as such, the default kit, the lid did blow off it. So I'm sticking with that rating, I'm afraid, Mr. T. So apologies for that. And of course, howdy. Everybody who's on live, and if you have any questions, please just ask as we go along. I will do my best to answer any questions which you've got. So Leon, as you can see the question down there, please just ask as we go along. I'll do my best to answer any questions which you've got as we go along. We may be here for 40 minutes, we may be here for an hour and 45 minutes like we were last time, but keep in the back of your mind, every single one of these models you're about to see, they were bought out of my money, and you will get some very honest reviews on some of these. Now, let's have a quick look. Dang, I don't have Wi-Fi here. Sorry to hear that, Elijah. Howdy, Paul, as well. Somebody's in Greece as well. Chris, happy days. Right, and thank you, Steve, for letting me know the audio is good. Right, with that said, we have a stack of white foam in front of us. Now, we're going to start this live session with potentially one of the best RC models which has ever hit manufacture. Now, those of you which have known me for a while, you know point blank, we're talking about the Wingwing Z84. Okay, fantastic, absolutely amazing wings. I've got a second one up there on the shelf, so I'm going to spoil it for you already. The Wingwing Z84, it honestly is one of the best models ever made, and I've said that for a long time, and I'm sticking with it. You can make these go absolutely skits on 4S. You can have 15-minute flight times on 3S. You can stick, you wouldn't believe it, but you can get a 2200 milliamp for 3S pack underneath that little hood. You can do what I've been and done with mine. And again, I think this is my third Z84. I've set this one up for FPV. I've got an L9R in the wing. I've got a video transmitter in the opposite one. I've got the Runcam Mini Swift in the front. And in the rear, what I've got around this side is a 1000 kV motor with a 6x4 5 prop. Now, those of you which know your motors and your kVs, you'll know that that is grossly underpowered. And that's right, because this thing cruises around on 4 amps. and I can get about 30 minutes plus flight time with a 1.64S battery in it, and I'm going to have a muck around with some Li-ion batteries in there as well. Now this one is actually set up for with iNav in the back of it. I wonder if I can get this lid off so I can show you inside. Now you're going to have to excuse me because I don't know how well that's going to come out. Let me see if I can put that over on the camera for you. In there we've got iNav set up in there. And it works absolutely fantastically well. It's one of the V2 boards. Now, I did use an EagleTree Vector, and you can cram in a full-size EagleTree Vector into the rear of one of these, and it does brilliantly, fantastically well. But I was always looking for a cheaper option, and then coming back to iNav, those of you which are following along with the live series at the moment, I've put just a cheap flight controller board in there, the V2, and this little thing is absolutely brilliant. So, the WingWing Z84, it covers all bases. You can go mental fast, you can have long flight times, or you can have ultra long flight times with a low KV. And by the way, the largest prop you can fit on the back is a 6x45 propeller. Howdy Jared, howdy Thumbs FPV. Oh yeah, Andy, they do flat spin very well. The one negative, which you can say about these, is underneath these wings, you get these two little nodules down here where you can check your CG. You won't be able to see, but you'll have to take my word for it. Mine are like right, I've got two dress pins in there, right up on the front. With the WingWing Z84, you always run these nose heavy. If you run it on the CG mark or behind, and you glide it, and it will drop a wing on you, and there's a video on my YouTube channel of this thing doing a death spiral, and I literally just saved it, almost got it in the ground, literally just saved it, and then if you didn't think things could get worse, I ended up having to fly underneath some power lines. Yeah, always run the WingWing Z84 nose heavy. You've got to do it. So looks, I absolutely love the WingWing Z84. I like the stock one like that. I do have one which I've laminated with black covering film over there. That looks super cool as well. I personally really do rate the WingWing Z84, and personally I'm going to rate this a 9 out of 10. It just does look the nuts, and I hope you can see that's coming out right on the screen for you. It is, for me, one of the best RC models ever created, and they only cost 30 quid. So how it flies, absolutely amazing. I'm going to rate this model 10 out of 10. They are really good. For price wise, 30 quid, give or take a few pennies, absolutely brilliant. You can get the plug and fly version if you want to, or you can just get the kit. Personally, I would suggest getting the kit and you put your own kit in it, if that makes sense. So yeah, 9, 10, 10, you know, absolutely fantastic. And the acid test here, would I buy another one again? Yes, I've done it 2 times before. Absolutely brilliant little wings. Let's have a quick look. The drone on Dude, learning tons from your channel. If you have any questions about what we're saying, any of the models which we're chatting about, remember you can ask live here. And of course, if you're watching the recorded version, you can ask down in the comments section below. Matt, did you see the run cam split? Yes, yet. Yes, I have been and seen that one. Not really for me, to be honest. Is the honest answer. Right. Next model, and by the way, I've put links to all of these models in the video description for you. They are all affiliate links except for the HobbyKing ones, of course. So if you use any of those links and go on to buy any of these models, you will be supporting this channel. Something which I like to make sure is 100% clear. And I'm not going to mention that I was watching a YouTube channel the other day and they completely hid that fact. Keep in the back of your mind, every single one of these models I bought out of my own money. And as such, I feel that I'm able to give you an honest review, because if they're shite, you will find out about it, as you found out about the Falcon in part 1. Let's have a quick look. Leon, Matt, will you please do a long-range FPV build with iNav? Well, actually, Leon, you're looking at it. Well, you're looking at 2 of them. The WingWing Z84 is an absolutely fantastic model, and you'll see down here, the model underneath is the Zeta Science FX61. It's a 61-inch wing, and we'll get to that one in a moment. And for a long time, you only had the choice of the Z84, the FX61, or the Buffalo, which is the FX79, which is a 79-inch wing, and it's absolutely massive. And then this other company came out, and it's known as the C1 Chaser, and it's this one which we've got here. And it kind of like completes the family. And I reckon Zeta Science must be kicking themselves, because it really was the missing part of like the series of these wings. So this is the C1 Chaser. Again, you'll see it set up with an L9R on the wing, video transmitter on the opposite wing. In the body of the model, Leon, you may notice that is a V2 Omnibus F4 V2 board. And that's the one with the current sensor. On the back, we have the Sunny Sky X22 16 1250 kV motor with an 8x6 prop, so the same setup as a mini Talon. And yeah, the two negatives which I would say about this model. Number one is that you need a lot, and I mean a lot, of nose weight. So I run this one with either a 5000 3S or a 3300 4S pack in the nose, and it just about balances out. It is right on the line of being balanced. The other thing is as well, space is a bit tight on these. If you look me up on Thingiverse, I've created and I'm using, excuse me, it's a platform or mezzanine which I've been made for the C1 Chaser. Works fantastically well. This model does suffer from exactly the same issue as what the FX61 and the Buffalo does as well, the FX79, which is the motor mounts are made of plastic and they can be a little bit, weak. Let me just put this around so you can see the motor setup, which I've got on the back of there. You'll notice that I've had to put some plywood in there. The last time, I've had this thing for about 3 months, something like that, and then I set it up with a vector on the top, and we threw it, and I didn't give it enough welly, and it went in the ground, and the prop was still spinning when it hit the ground, and it broke the motor mount. So yeah, same issue as what the FX61 has got as well. That said, huge payload capacity. If you put a mezzanine in there, you can make one out of plywood. I've 3D printed mine. Works really, really well. Again, set up with iNav. As far as flight times for the C1 Chaser, you are talking a minimum. Put it this way, last time I took it out, I did a 28-minute flight, and I still had 40% left in the battery. Work that out, and that was a 5004 3S. Absolutely brilliant. If you want to fly these models line of sight, they are great fun. Much more gentle than what can be a psychopathic Wingwing Z84. So let's have a quick look. Andy says S800 is great. Yeah, that came up previously. Yeah. If you're not running a GoPro, it's a waste. Get the Z84. Yeah, totally agree with you, Andy. How many amps does this one cruise at? Anywhere between 6 and 8 amps. It is surprising considering the weight in it. You imagine a 5000 3S in that. It's quite a bit of weight, and you have to give it a bit of knacker to get it in the sky. But considering it just like, we'll put it this way, one of the flights which we did, I was at for 27 minutes, and I came in with like 60-70% left of the battery because it was thermaling in the sky. Literally, even with a 5000 milliamp for a 3S pack in it. So C1 Chaser, really, really good model. Let's talk about looks. Well, to be honest, we can't demote it any less than the Wingwing Z84, to be honest. It's the same kind of style. Really do like these wings. Well, as you can tell, I've got 3 of them. Well, technically 4 of the same style. So personally, I'm going to rate it a 9. How it flies, absolutely corking. It is the bigger version to the Z84, so it's got to be a 9 again. And price. I checked these earlier. They were about $60 over on Banggood. I think that's quite a lot of good. That's a lot of foam. If you like wings, then it's fantastic value for money. And if you're looking for something a little bit bigger than a Z84, maybe an upgrade to a Z84, and you don't want to go into an FX61 or the Buffalo, which is the bigger version, which is the FX79, then yeah, good value for money. Do like it. If I stuffed it in the ground, now that is a questionable answer, because I've been and got me, well, I will be getting my FX61 flying again. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. If I smashed up the C1 Chaser tomorrow, I'm not entirely sure if I would go and buy another one. And I'm being bluntly honest with you. The one which I've got is very enjoyable to fly, but I'm not entirely sure that I would replace it. So, right, let's have a quick look. So we get the stream to the end. So yeah, if you've got any questions as we go along, please just ask. I am just going to quickly pause for a quick sip of squash. Right, next one. Similar format, slightly bigger. This is the Phantom FX61. These things will cruise for miles, absolute miles. Big floaty models. Just look, so I can get this end piece, the lid off. Just look, I need to go careful because I got another iNav board to go in that one. Just look at the size of the payload which you can get in there. Absolutely huge, great big payload capacity, monstrous thing. Quick line rundown. Normally has, well, it's got an L9R in there. We've normally got a video transmitter on the opposite wing. The motor is a SK3. Which one have I got? Aerodrive, 35, 36, 1400 kV with looks like a 9-inch propeller of some size. I did run this one for a long time with an Eagle Tree Vector in it. Absolutely fantastic. That said, my Vectors are in other models, so we're sticking iNav in this one. Just a huge, big, floaty model. 100% enjoyable. Let's talk about looks. I just love my FX61. I really do. I absolutely adore it. I'll tell you point blank now, if I smashed it in and broke it beyond repair, I would go and buy another one. The C1 Chaser is a little bit questionable. The Z84, really do like those. And like I said, I'm into my third one of those. This is the first one which I've had of the FX61. You will, if I turn it at the bottom up, I've actually fiberglassed the bottom. Which was a bit of a pain in the rear to do, but you can land it hard if you need to and not care about what you're landing in, and it just absorbs it, you know. Yeah, I probably did add a few extra grams for doing that, but it's pretty damn robust to say the least. It's quick. Sorry, Thumbs FPV, I missed your question. Let's have a quick look. What are you actually just wings for iNav and not planes? Yeah, right now we will. I'm just using iNav for for flying wings. That's why the series. I'm basing the iNav series on the parts which I use. I've seen it other YouTube channels and seen it also on the internet where they review stuff, and it's somewhat questionable if they go on and use it themselves. At least I can prove to you that the flight controller board in here is actually the posh version. That's the Omnibus V4. Sorry, the Omnibus F4 version 3 from Unmanned Tech, which I bought. That one is destined to go in this model. And yeah, I've got the V2 board in that one. I've got a V2 board in the Z84. So like I said, I'm basing this series based upon what I'm actually using myself and what I've had personally great success with. So I hope that helps. Jared says, have you seen the Strix Goblin? Yes, I've seen it. I'm not paying that much money because we will just absolutely butt pooped on the shipping from the United States. Yeah, so ready-made RC, if you're in the United States, that's really lucky for you because the shipping is quite inexpensive. If you are in the United Kingdom, like myself, then the shipping is absolutely bloody ridiculous. So yeah, personally, I don't buy anything from that site because their shipping is just ridiculous to the United Kingdom. Anyway, coming back onto the topic, the FX61. The Phantom is its code name. Absolutely brilliant model. This one will be up and flying again very, very shortly. Looks, for me, I love this style of wing. It's a 9. How it flies, 10. 10, 10, 10, 10 every single day of the week. Just so enjoyable to fly. This is one of those models where you can just sit back in your chair, goggles down, and enjoy the journey, you know. Absolutely brilliant. Really do like the FX61, so it's 10 for that. Price, let's talk about price. These do vary in price depending if they're on sale or not. I remember when I was looking to buy one of these, I tried buying it off the HobbyKing website, but apparently it was too big. They couldn't ship it to me. So I bought it from Banggood and it turned up in a week. So I was most impressed with Banggood. That was one of my first purchases actually from Banggood. well, my first RC model purchase anyway, and I'm super impressed. Turned up in a week, and happy days. It's about $100, okay, but that is a lot of foam for your money, and if you want something big and floaty to fly around in, perfect model, absolutely brilliant. Huge payload capacity, proven airframe, no complaints about it at all really. The one mod which I would suggest that you do is that you can buy a CNC'd motor mount. You can buy that on eBay. It's about $20 US, and I don't use the standard plastic one. Change that to a CNC'd one, and you'll never get an issue with the plastic one breaking. Okay, and you can also get a spare lid for these as well. Right, let's go move her out of the way. Let's have a quick look. Bobby Johnson says you should convert the Banggood F22 to iNav. I will give you some sad news about that F22, which is that it's going to go and find a new home shortly. I tell you what, this is the one which I am. You're going to have to excuse me. While Bobby's been and brought that up, I will get that one out. I didn't intend covering that one today, but I'll tell you what, we're right. Just for you, Bobby. We'll stick that one down there. Right. My iPad's just closed itself down. You'll have to give me a moment so we can get this back up so I can see your chat. Howdy, RC Aviation. Right. Yeah, Jake, you've just seen in the comments underneath here, Jake's just mentioned about the weak motor mount again on the FX61. Yeah, absolutely. Go and get the CNC'd version. It's $20. Right, Bobby brought this one up. It is the F22 from Banggood. No idea who makes it. If you like your RC jets, then this is pretty damn cool. And you'll notice that I've been and laminated this one, which was probably one of the best things which I ever did. It does have a weird setup. I'll see if I can get this on the camera. Have a look what's going on with that servo. You've got one servo which does both elevons. Now you have elevons at the back of the model and to the side. The roll rate on this thing is absolutely bonkers. However, I've set this up with, I think it was it a 64mm EDF in there? I've got a 30 amp ESC, run it on a 1.3 3S pack. Obviously you can run larger, but this thing absolutely mullers my batteries. And it just eats batteries. Anything more than a 3-minute flight and you've killed your battery. Literally killed it. I've puffed. You've just, ugh. So, if you like your RC jets and you like your EDFs, these are great. If you like something which looks scale and flies around kind of scale, it's not unlimited vertical. It does look the piece, so I can't remember how much I paid for it. So let's get to the rating system. Looks. If you like RC jets, you're going to rate that quite highly. To me, it looks like an RC jet. I'm not really sold on it, to be honest. I'm going to be really brutal and give it a 5 because I didn't really like RC jets. I've bought one. I've owned one. I probably won't own another one, to be honest. How it flies, mediocre. It's, like I said, doesn't have unlimited vertical, which is an EDF, so you're not necessarily expecting it to do that. It's nice. I'm going to give it like a conservative 6. Okay. Price, can't remember how much I paid for it. Whatever I paid for it was probably too much. I think they're about $40, $50, something like that. Yeah, not that impressed. I wouldn't buy one again. It's the honest answer. So, Bobby, that one was for you. Let me go and stick her up out the way. Yeah, that one needs to go on to a new home. I'm just going to pause to have a look at your chat a second and have a quick sip of drink. Yeah, Brian, you're absolutely right. You can see in the chat, you can get the Omnibus F4 Pro now, V2 on eBay for £13.55. Happy days. Right, next model which we're going to talk about is the Cloud Raptor. Now, to be honest, I made a bit of a screw up when I did the last video on the Cloud Raptor because I was trying to tell you this negative about this model, but I didn't actually tell you what the negative was. The negative is that it looks absolutely fantastic, but that covering will just not take laminate. I've laminated mine and it's questionable whether I should have laminated it because I had an absolute nightmare trying to get the lam to stick to it. It's really good quality laminate, no issues on any of the other models. It was just this printed system, this printed covering which they've got for it. It just didn't work out particularly well at all. That said, this model is super light. We're only talking 300 grams, 400 grams tops, if that. It is very, very light model. Also, the payload capacity in this model is monstrous, absolutely monstrous in there. Those of you who saw the last flight with this, I had a 1.3 3S battery pack up in the nose. This foam system, or this foam stuff which they've got for this sensor section, rock hard foam. I've not come across that foam style before, and it's really, really hard. So how does it fly? Absolutely fantastically well. Really nice to fly. I haven't flown it I have flown it FPV actually. I put the all-in-one camera on the nose and it was absolutely fine to fly. It was really, really nice, and the roll rate on it is absolutely skits. So let's talk about looks. Motor on the back, D2826, 2200 kV with 6x45 prop on the back, Tower Pro servos, and a 40 amp ESC because I was running that one on 4S. So let's talk about looks. It looks pretty cool. It's got to be a 7 or 8 any day of the week, that's for sure. I've not seen any other models with a nice pattern like that. And again, let me just move that up on the top. It doesn't have any real color scheme underneath, but the top view is pretty damn cool, to be honest. So looks 7 or 8. I think it's been fair for it. How it flies, really nice to fly. Like I said, the roll rate on it is absolutely bonkers. Very axial on its rolls as well. Sometimes wings can be really sloppy on the way over. That one is peculiar. Bobby, that's a knockoff of the Flight Test Spear. To be honest, the Flight Test Spear was probably a knockoff of a knockoff of a knockoff, because you could say the Flight Test Spear looks like the FX61, you know. Very few of the Flight Test models are actual original models. They're always based upon previous models. If you use the Bloody Baron as an example, that one's got a long history back to previous incarnations. So yeah, sorry Bobby, I normally pick up on these comments because most of the time it's not accurate. Okay, so anyway, coming back onto the topic, price, I think it's about $50. Pretty damn cool. Let's always get to price, $50. I feel it's a little bit overpriced, if I'm honest. If it was $40, I'd be much happier recommending it to you. It flies great, in short. Now here's the sticky one. Would I buy it again? Probably not, is the honest answer. I bought it because it looked pretty damn cool. That said, we took it out slope soaring, and because it is so light, those wings are so light. It's a very low density EPP foam, and yeah, it does fly fantastically well. As a slope wing, it would be fantastic. As FPV, it's really good. And if I wasn't short on other wings to fly, then I'd probably be rating it higher, to be honest. And if I did stuff it in, if I didn't have other wings to fly, then I might consider buying another one. Right. Riff says, isn't it past your bedtime? We are getting close there. Right. Thumbs FPV. But why are you actually only using wings instead of planes? Thumbs FPV. I prefer flying wings. That's just why I am. But that said, let's move to what is not a flying wing, which is my little basher. And you can tell it's my little basher because you can see there's a whole, look at the size of the chunk out of the wing. I got that stuck in a tree. These are one of the last live sessions which I did. We had to hit it out the tree with a brand with a log to get it down out of the ground. This is the HobbyKing Reactor. Free model, very simple to put together. Feels really nice, decent EPP foam. Not a long build. You're probably talking an hour, maybe a little bit longer, including the electronics as well. Flies really good. My only thing which really pissed me off about this model is this top fin up here. Now, if I put that up level, so you're looking at the model, can you see it's on the piss? So if you ever buy one of these, make sure you cut that top fin bit at the top, the platform for it, down flat. It really did let down what was a fantastic model because somebody was too lazy to cut that flat. So I just looked, oh, it looks flat, glued it on. And then the next day I noticed it's on the piss. So yeah, that's its negative, to be honest. Does it fly well? Absolutely brilliant in the sky. If you're into your 3D, you can run them on 2S, you can run them on 3S, and they're great fun for chucking around. Obviously, on a calmer day, because there's not much weight to this model at all. It's just, it's a 3D model, you know. Anything less than a perfect day, then this one, well, I've flown it in less than perfect conditions. Flies great, but it will get knocked around by the wind quite a bit. Let's have a quick look. Right, next up, so looks. Really nice finish on this one. It's a 3D model. It does look the business. I like the colouring scheme on it, so it's an 8 out of 10. How it flies pretty well, and the only negative which I would say is that it is very, very sensitive. So if any of you have flown 3D before, you knife edge a model from right to left, and they normally fly really like it because you've got the torque of the prop helping you over. When you go from left to right in a knife edge, this thing is an absolute dog to hold over, okay? And it's not me. I've had someone else fly this one, and they've said exactly the same thing, and it's snapped out on them as well from a left to right. What do we call it? Knife edge. Okay. That's its negative point. So how does it fly? It flies really, really well. It's a massive challenge on those old sticks. Okay. Also, there is a prop saver on this motor, which is covered in elastic bands at the moment. And it's not a prop saver, it's a motor mount saver. As many of you know, if you've got any of these little cheap foamy models, the motor mount's going to go, so you do need a prop saver on the front of them. Would I buy one again? Oh, price, 30 quid. Brilliant. 9 out of 10 on the price from me. Would I buy one again? I don't know. I gave away my 3D Hummer a while ago because I was always intending to go and buy another one. I don't know if I'd smash this one up, whether I'd go and get another Reactor or I would go and get a Hummer 3D instead. I don't know which one I would go for. I genuinely don't know. So I can't answer that one as well. So a quick look. Right, moving on. Let's get that one out of the way. So yeah, would I buy that one again? Genuinely don't know. I'm not in the position to be able to answer that at the moment because I haven't completely killed it. We stuffed it in a tree a while back and it's still going. Right, next model. And you know, somebody was saying about flying wings. We are getting into some normal fixed wing models now. Right, this is the HobbyKing Slow Stick. Now, I'm going to be very, very harsh on this model because I feel that I need to be very, very harsh on this model. Underneath there, can you see the fiberglass, which I've had to put in there? Those wings are not satisfactory out of the box. Also, and I'm just going to get you into the bad bit straight away. Also, that is not the original main fuselage, the stick piece of it. The piece which they give you is number one, shorter. Number two, is engineered to break because they are so tight on shipping. You get one piece of glass fibre tube and you get a really shite connector at the back, which always breaks. And anybody which I've known which has had one of these slow sticks has said exactly the same thing. The wing joiner on the back is crap, and the wing the fuselage joiner on the back is crap, and the wings you need to reinforce. Okay, so that said, I've got some 10mm carbon fibre tube in here, different motor mount on the front. Again, I didn't cut it up, it's the same, it's a metre long now. That means I need to muck around with the CG. Let me just put this one up on here. So the wings sit up like so. It's called a slow stick, and you can see how, how much longer I've been and made mine. Right, let's have a quick look. Brian, see you later. Howdy Chris, by the way, in the chat. And by the way, you can see the chat going on underneath underneath myself on the thing on here. So let's talk about looks. It's a slow stick. It looks exactly what a slow stick kind of looks like. A thin fuselage with some wings stuck on the top. Now let's talk about those wings for a moment. And why did Matt need to fiberglass these things together? Well, these models are not the most aerobatic of models, and I was pushing mine quite hard. I decided in my head that I wanted to do an S in the sky. So came across the flight line, pulled up, went inverted, held it, because I was going to do like a long S and go like that. But I pulled back pretty hard on the elevator, so it snapped right round. And then I did an inverted loop to bring itself back round, coming out, because it came round, I was inverted, came across and went to pull back over, and then the wing snapped in half. So yeah, they're not the most aerobatic. They are an absolute nightmare trying to hold a knife edge in one of these. But that said, we've flown these in 20-25 mile an hour wind for something which doesn't weigh a lot. Absolute handful. Laps it up. Honestly, on the windiest days, slow stick comes into its own. It's a real challenge to fly these. And of course, on a calmer day, brilliant to fly. Goes exactly where you point it. Most enjoyable to fly. So I've mentioned all the negatives, but I'd like to keep in the back of your mind that they do fly really, really well. There's just a few issues with them, like the engineered crap connector at the back, which will break on you. You might as well just go and buy a piece of carbon tube and put that in yourself. And the wings, you definitely want to put some strengtheners in them as well. Let's have a quick look. So it looks like a slow stick. You can't argue with that. So it's not the most attractive thing ever created. So we're giving it a 6 out of 10, to be honest. How it flies depends upon your purposes, to be honest. I haven't flown mine in ages. So 6, 7 out of 10, something like that. But like I said, if you want something just to chuck around, excuse me, great fun. Absolute great fun. Yeah. I'm being mean to it on a 6. It's probably more like an 8. They do fly really well. I'm correcting myself. Price. I would not buy one of these at full price. I checked before we went live. £78. 78 quid. I paid £36 in a sell from HobbyKing for this one. And I wouldn't pay any more than that. So the HobbyKing slow stick, and by the way, you'll see that I've called mine the slow stick because I rearranged the sticker on it. Yeah, I wouldn't suggest buying it unless it's on sale. That's my honest answer for it, because you have to do some extra work on the wings, and you'll definitely want to go and invest in a piece of carbon fibre tube, a square tube, to go down the middle. So let's move these out of the way, and we'll move on to the next one. And by the way, I am wandering off the camera, otherwise I'm not going to be able to get back to where we were. Right. Let's have a quick look at your chat as well. Right. Let's talk about beasts. You ready for this one? I'm going to struggle to get this one on the desk. It's a right handful, and it takes so long to get it ready every time I want to go and get it flown. And it's not the XUAV Clouds. It's my rainbow wing. I think this thing is absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. It's a little 600mm wing. It cost $18. Tiny little HobbyKing motor on the back. What is it? It's a 1612 3200 kV motor with a little 50, one of those little crappy 50-30 props on the back. Run it on 2S, little 10 amp ESC in the nose, receiver out on the side. Absolutely brilliant. If I knock the propeller off the S-back out there on a morning, you know that I got this one sat next to me, and I go for a little razz around with this little thing. Now, she is a bit pitch sensitive, even with her being nose heavy as well. That's the only negative which I can say about it. You will definitely want to put some additional carbon fibre back here. And I've personally, it's got some Turnigy 14 off HobbyKing 1440A servos in there. Personally, I'm speaking, I think it's absolutely great. It's brilliant fun. Has to be a calmer day. Great fun. I haven't FPV'd it yet, so I need to get around to doing that with a little all-in-one camera on the front. But for $18, great fun. Fly it at least 3 times a week, maybe a little bit more. If I broke it, so I tell you what, we'll get to that one. I'll answer that one in just a moment. Bobby says, I have. Right. Yes, it's a baby rainbow wing. Talk about looks. If you like their colour scheme, that's up to you. I spray painted mine silver and pink on the bottom so I could see which way it was up from when I'm doing stupid stuff with it. It looks pretty cool. It's a little flying wing. I like flying wings, so 7 out of 10, you know. I think it's pretty cool. I do like it, and happy days. How it flies. I'm not going to rate this one too highly. I'm going to give it maybe a 6 or a 7 out of 10 for flying, because it is a little bit pitch sensitive. There are it's not the best, but I do like the way in which it flies, and I've got very used to it now, and also all its bad habits. So I can't be too bad on that one. So maybe about a 7 out of 10. Price, absolute bargain. $17, $18 with free shipping. I think it's brilliant. Very lightweight electronics. Not one for overpowering. You do need to reinforce it on the back, but for $18, I think it's fantastic value for money. And crucially, if I smash this one in tomorrow morning, I would go and buy another one. I really like it. And again, that's due to my personal circumstances, is that if I can fly something out the front, just have a quick razz around, like I'll probably do after this live episode, it might be this, or it might be the S-Back. So I do like it. I do like it. And I know that some of you won't like a little wing that small, but like I said, I like it. Right. Oh, we got a biggie. Well, we've got 2 biggies next. Next one, I didn't actually put this one on the list, and I'm sure some of you have already been and seen this bad boy. This is my Fu XFL. I'm in 2 minds to tell you what that actually stands for. If you want to know what that actually stands for, go and watch the video on the maiden of this one, and I'll tell you, because it's rather rude. But then I can get to tell you that it's a KFU XFL. If you know what it actually stands for, you know why I'm giggling. I made this one myself. It's the bigger version to the little baby Kfu, which I've got down there on the ground. Payload capacity, 5,000 FreeS, 5,000 milliamp for FreeS pack in the nose. Big and graceful. Need to get her out in the sky because I've changed the props from 10.547 slow-fi to 11x7, 11x7 propellers. Absolutely brilliant. For something which I made from £9 worth of foam board, I really am impressed. And if you'd like to know more about this one, look up K-FU on my YouTube channel. Underneath this video, click on Matt Ogborn, and you can look it up. And you'll see the second flight, I'm smashing it around the trees. Really enjoyable, really like it. So, price was £9. Looks, it's a bit ugly, to be honest. I don't know, I'll let you rate that one. Price, bargain, how it flies. Personally, very, very impressed. Let's have a quick look. King Klein FPV. Matt, can you just hang your mini drac on the wall behind you so that we can all stare at it? Absolutely. She is actually behind a load of other models at the moment from last time, because I'm getting prepared for Friday. Because as many of you know, Friday is a flying day. Right, moving on. I knew I'd get to this one eventually, and you'll have to excuse me being in front of the camera. This thing is so big, and I don't know what I've done with the other wing. It's sure it's here. There it is. I'm only going to just roughly put this one together because it is got a 1.8 meter wingspan. I'll stick the other one over on this side. You're going to have to apologies for crossing across the web camera there. Right, that should give you an idea on how big the XUAV Clouds is. Let me just click that in. I'm just going to roughly put that together. Right, that's fallen down. Let me sign back in a moment. Right, the XUAV Clouds is an absolute puppy in the sky. I was a little bit concerned about it on being a bit short fused, if that makes sense, where the tail is very close to the wing. It's very quick to set up. It looks complicated, but it takes 10 minutes. The hardest part of getting this model ready to fly on the flight line is putting the 2 bolts in for the wings to hold the wings on. That's it. The rest of it is what I've got set up inside. It's just some wing screws, just a couple of servo connectors. I fly this one with 10,400 milliamperes of battery on 4S. I have not got anywhere near the total capacity of those batteries, and it's been in the air for a very, very long time. You could easily stack in 20,000 milliamperes of battery, over 20,000 milliamperes of battery in this model. As we saw, we've got the wings are detachable. One side we've got the video transmitter, the other one we've got the receiver in. Let's open this up so you can see what's inside. Just undo those bolts. This one, I do normally put the Allen key for this one inside, and I hope this kind of shows up on your screen for you. That's the layup inside. I fully furnished mine inside with a 1.5mm plywood inner. We do have an Eagle Tree Vector. That's in this back rear compartment. There's even another compartment at the back as well. You're not short of flight space or places to stick stuff on this model because it's so big. The fuselage, look, that's my fist in the model. It's massive. It's absolutely bonkers size on there. The motors which I put on here were not cheap. They are the Sunny Sky X2814 900 kV. Those motors were $28 each, something like that, which for me normally is an expensive motor. Excuse me. On max thrust, it will pull about 60 amps. It will cruise on 8 amps or less. Like I said, an absolute big kitty in the sky. Very, very enjoyable to fly, and I genuinely do mean that. Very, very enjoyable. Looks, you're either going to like it or you're going to hate it. I think it's one of those like Marmite models where you either like it, and I've liked this model for a long time, so I like it. I'm going to give it maybe an 8 or a 9 out of 10. Again, combine it with the VTEL at the back. We do need to bring up a few negative points about the XUAV Clouds. The big one is the boxing of the model is absolutely rubbish. Mine has still got a mount mark on the top of mine where one of these wing side plastic pieces on the side got knocked around in the box and it got crushed. Andrew, which was on Bolton, which may still be on here as well, here will tell you exactly the same. His got damaged in delivery. Aero FPV had exactly the same issue with his as well, damaged during delivery. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like XUAV have done anything more about the packaging. I bought mine for a discounted amount, and then Banggood gave me a fair chunk of money off as well. If you look on the Banggood website today, it shows about $180, $190, something like that. I would not pay full price for this model. Chances are it is going to turn up with you with a few knocks because the packaging is so diabolical. That said, if you like the model, it flies absolutely brilliantly in the sky. It's a 10-minute maximum setup time on the flight line, which you just poke the wings on, push the wires through, for me anyway, because remember, I got my stuff out in the wings. If you put your receiver in the middle, you don't have any of that issue. You just got to put the 2 wing bolts in. But as you saw on mine, I've got the video transmitter on one and the receiver on another wing. You don't have to do that with yours if you don't want to. I always put maximum separation. You've seen that on all of my models, all those wings before. Video transmitter, receiver on opposite wings. Yeah, there is this funny hole at the back in the tail. Nobody actually knows why there's a hole in the back in the tail. I've stuffed some EPP foam in the back of that one. Also, when you go to launch it, let me turn it right around that way. Launching her is a bit of a bugger. I haven't got small hands, but equally I've not got big hands. And it is, when this thing's loaded up with 200 packs in the front of it, it does weigh a bit. So if you can get one of your buddies to lob it for you, so grab it like that, and then you only need just a gentle lob, and it flies by itself. Yeah, launching it is a bit awkward, to say the least. So looks, I like it, 8 out of 10. How it flies, absolutely brilliantly well. Like I said, big kitten in the sky, very, very enjoyable. And because it's got twin motors on the front, super quiet, very efficient, and it's got that lovely whir that you only get with a twin motored model. Really do like it, that's for sure. Howdy Lauren, by the way, and howdy Van as well. Matt, how fast is the XUAV Clouds on your setup? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. We cruise around 30 to 40 miles an hour on not a lot of amps. Like I said, it's a big kitten. It gets there. It's ace. I've not tried doing any top speeds on this one because it's not a model which is meant to do that. So maybe the next time I'll take it out, I'll go up high and point it at the ground and see how fast I can pull out a dive on it. But anyway, it's not really a model like that. It's great for chasing, just cruising. You know, the payload capacity on it is massive, to say the least. Price, I think it's overpriced. I genuinely do. Chances are, when yours turns up, it's going to turn up with a dent in it. And obviously, I fed the info back to XUAV. They said that they were going to get in contact with Banggood to improve their packaging. Unfortunately, we know that that's not necessarily true. There was a breakdown in communication there between Banggood and XUAV, or XUAV and Banggood, because Andrew ordered ones and his did turned up in just a standard box, and his was damaged as well. So, if you like it, I like it. You know, would I buy one again? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I don't want to be put it this way. I don't want to be put in a position where I need to buy another one again, because I do actually like it. It does fly really, really well. It flies fantastically well for it was. Howdy, Alan, by the way. The Clouds is a big bird. It really is. Now, talking about big birds, I need to get over here and get a couple more models out. Right. I'll tell you what, I'm going to do... Oh, having many more. 3 more, and then we're going to wrap up. There we go. And we'll get these out of the way. 3 very contrasting models, which we've got here. Let's stick that up there. Right, I don't think you could get any different for flying styles amongst these 3 models. We've got a big floaty glider. We've got something which does a ton in a straight line and is just absolutely bonkers to fly. Excuse me, I've got part of a radjet on my foot. And we've got a 3D model. I don't think you could get 3 dissimilar models in one go. So, yeah. Let's start with the Edge 540. This one wasn't cheap. I think I paid about $80 for it, which is about the right price because you can also get very similar ones off HobbyKing. It is so light. So light. These walls in here is made, it's just 3mm or 4mm. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. It's just 3 or 4mm EPP foam, which has been moulded around with a plywood nose and a few bits of carbon fibre down the fuselage. I have just set this one up with a... can't remember what motor I've stuck on it now. I did change the motor and I've changed the prop on it as well. If you like your 3D, it's great. It's really good fun. It's a bit big for flying out the front, which is actually the reason why I bought it. But it really is too big out the front. It also needs landing gear. It's not like the S-Back, for example, which I can just land it gently on the grass. You know, I need to land this one on the driveway. So it is always a bit of a challenge. It doesn't get flown as much as perhaps it should do, When you do fly, it flies kind of well. It has a similar challenge to the. It can. You've got to be on your game. You've got to be on your A game to fly this one. Put it that way. It flies great. I enjoy it. I don't think I'd buy another one, because I know that if I hit the ground hard with this one, it's going to be completely unrepairable. Now, seeing this model, I don't think I would replace it with one very similar to this because, like I said, one knock into the ground, it's a write-off, in short, because there is nothing for you to rebuild. It is literally overlaid EPP foam on EPP cores, and one mistake on your part, and it's in, and that's the end of it. Flies really well, though. So, looks paint job on it is absolutely fantastic. Really, really nice paint job. It's got crosses or squares on the bottom. If I hold it around like that, it does look the business. It is, if you like your Edge 540s, which I do, it's right up there for a 9 out of 10. Maybe even, it's a 9 out of 10. The finish on it is really, really good. I do like it. How it flies, 9 out of 10 again. But it's not a full 10 because I know that one mistake on my part, it'll be absolute foam snow and it'll be game over for this one. Price, I feel it's overpriced. Totally overpriced for what it is. There are other models which you can buy it there and have just as much fun with it. So the ultimate test here, which I hope which is helping you, would I buy this one again? The answer is no, I wouldn't. But if you're more experienced than what I am with 3D, then your pain threshold for not stuffing it, or the chances of you stuffing it, might be a lot less. So I hope that helps in short. Let's have a quick look. Matt, what do you think about the balsa version of the Edge 540? It's balsa. I'm not a big fan of balsa models because there's not much chance of repairing one of those if they go in. Where it's foam, at least you can get the hot glue gun out and stick it together again. So I don't normally do balsa, if I'm honest. Thumbs FPV. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, the spats punch out on the ailerons on the heavy landings too. Absolutely. Right, let's go to one end of the spectrum and then we're going to end up on the other end of the spectrum. This is the HobbyKing BFG. I bought this off Dave actually for 20 quid, which I thought was a bit of a bargain. So I did him a solid back and he bought the Twin Star off me for 20 quid. So, or was it 30 quid? I can't remember now. Anyway, BFG, big, floaty, whatever. Roll rate, absolutely diabolical. And I've even put, it's now got 4 servos with ailerons and flaps in here. And even when you combine them together, the roll rate on it is absolutely diabolical. It's also a T-tail, which means that it hits everything in your car, in your office, or whatever you do with this model. You will hit it and you will break it. T-tails for me are very bad choices for models, and that's why I only own 2 actually, and that's the mini Skywalker over there, which has a T-tail issue as well. So T-tails, very dodgy, as in that they just break for a pastime, you know. As far as flying goes, by the way, it's called a BFG 1600, 1.6 meter wingspan. It glides absolutely brilliantly. If you're on a slope and you want something to chill out with, in fact, the last time I flew this one was on a slope and I did chill out with it. Just sat there in the chair, enjoyed it, and I think I had about a 40-minute flight, something like that with it. Only with a 1.3S battery in it. So if you're feeling like you want to be retired for a day and you want something which is not gonna tip stall on you or aim for the ground and is very predictable, BFG, good choice. As far as looks, it's a big glider. It looks like a big glider, to be honest, so no big surprises there. 7 out of 10 if you like gliders, you know. How it flies, 6. Depends on your purposes. Remember, that T-tail's really dodgy. Price, absolute bargain. Would I buy it again for 20 quid? Hell yeah. Would I buy it for full price? Hell no. Is the honest answer to that. So let's move those out of the way. Right, the last model which we've got here, and unfortunately I've lost the cover. It's here in the orifice somewhere. I just don't know. I don't know what I've done with it. So this is the EFXtra. It's about 127 quid's worth and probably worth every single penny of it. I was really looking forward to these coming out because at the time I felt that I was up to be able to fly a model like this. The original EF Racer wasn't available, and for me I really was looking forward to these flying and being available to own one. I got one and we had it out either the same day or the next day, and I've smashed the sky so many times with this thing. It's bonkers. It's not, doesn't have the same noise as what it first once did have on it. Maybe because I've thrashed mine pretty hard. I did break the fuselage in half the last time I flew it. I didn't give it enough underarm welly and enough throttle, and it went over and rolled on me. So I did cartwheel it and broke it in half. I've knocked the motor mount back out. I've had the wings off it. One of the elevons on it. I've nose punted it in the ground. It is quite a tough model considering the speeds it does. We are talking 100 miles an hour out of the box fun. Any battery which you stick in the nose, you'll hit CG on it. I will run mine on either an 1800 or 2200 4S graphene pack. As such, you are probably talking 3 minutes, 4 minutes worth of flight time before that battery buzzes going beeping, get me down now before I die. It is absolutely great. The maneuvers you can pick off on this one is really, really good. The negative point to this model is the rudder. Absolute shite. Absolute pointless. It's just too small. I've got it on maximum throws and it's completely pointless. That said, does look the business. Really like it. If I smashed it up beyond repair, I would quite possibly buy another one. And it was an inspired idea where I wrote 69 on it because that also made me giggle. And plus it's red, and as we know, red is the fastest colour. The bit was just letting this one down is that I don't have the cover for it. It's here somewhere. So looks, absolutely love the EFXtra. So I'm biased. It's my model. I like it. It gets a 10 out of 10. Any day of the week. I think my EFXtra is pretty damn cool. I like it a lot. So I'm going to rate it a 10. How it flies. Absolute bastard to land it. Honestly, what an absolute toad. These things, considering the model, you wouldn't believe how long these things glide for. Absolute toe rag to land. As such, it's been demoted 1 point, and only 1 point, down to a 9. Otherwise, it would get a 10. They're just an absolute toe rag to land because you need to repair the landing approach so far away and get the speed off it to bring them into land. They're absolute toads to land. Besides that, absolutely bonkers. My favourite personal manoeuvre with the EFXtra is the washing machine, which is basically get it right in front of you on the flight line and then spin it like that. Right in front of you and try and get as tight as you can with it and then knock it out and then bring it back down and do it the opposite way. My favourite manoeuvre with the EFXtra. Brilliant. It comes with an FPV pod which I've used actually ironically only a handful of times. It is much more fun line of sight, to be brutally honest. Yeah, it's a great doing a ton in a model like this, but it is even more fun being stood on the flight line and watching it. So for me, it's more fun as a line of sight model. It's great that you've got FPV on it, got the little pod which sits on the top, but that said, EFXtra, do really like it. Price, it's the price which I expected it. It actually came out cheaper than what I was expecting. Would I buy one again? Tough question. Put it this way, I would be extremely pissed off with myself if I smashed that one in to the point that it's irreparable. You can buy the wings separately, you can buy a fuselage. I would probably buy the parts to repair the parts which I broke. And anyway, I've geeked that one up. It's all in there straight, so I think that one's going to be fine. So price, it's not a cheap model. I think it was 130 quid, give or take a few pennies. So could always be cheaper. So maybe a 7 out of 10. But for like an overall rating, which I've not really done for any of the other ones, I think it's great. I really do like it. So would I buy one again? Don't know. Generally don't know. I'd probably buy the parts and then try and get around it. Right. Let's have a quick look. Davey or FPV. I love the appearance of a T-tail, but you've got to be able to remove it. Yeah, Davey, I agree with you. T-tails, they look good, but they are extremely fragile. That's why I only own 2, and I've hit that one and broke that the BFG's one twice already, you know. And the mini Skywalker, which I've got over there in the window, yeah, I've broken that one. It's got some carbon fibre support rods in it. Right, it is time for us to wrap up. We have covered a lot of models. We started with the WingWing Z84, potentially one of the best models ever created. Honestly, if you've never owned a Z84, you should immediately go and buy one. They are absolutely corking little wings. Like I said, 15 minutes worth of flight time on a 3S pack, 2200 in the nose, 2200 kV on the back. Brilliant. You can set them up for FPV, either fast FPV or lightweight FPV. You can fit flight controllers in them. They will take a nose punt. Like I said, I'm on my third. I think the Z84 is absolutely fantastic. We then had the C1 Chaser as well. That happy medium between the FX61 and the Z84. Remember, C1 Chaser, I had a question mark over it. Would I buy another one? Genuinely don't know. The FX61, we looked at that huge, great big wing. Absolutely love that one. Big floaty model. Also, I've glued those wings on and it's still perfectly manageable. I know that other people have recommended like the FX79, the big buffalo, but that wing is just so big, it's not for me. In short, it's just too big. So frankly speaking, I would never own one. The other reason why I would never own one, I've owned an FX61. I love my FX61, so that's where I'm stopping the family of those style of wings. Really like those. What else do we have? We had the little rainbow wing, we had the F22, we had the HobbyKing Reactor, we had the Cloud Raptor as well, the HobbyKing Slow Stig, we had the Fu XFL, fantastic model. We had the BFG 1600, and we had the XUAV Clouds, and we had an Edge 540, and I've probably missed a model like that one glaring me in my face. If you have any questions about any of the models which we've been covered here live, please just ask. Like I said back at the beginning, all of these models I bought out of my money. I like the RC hobby. You know, as many of you know, my story behind this is very simple. 4.5 years, I've worked my absolute boobies off. No hobby, no real social life, etc., etc. And I found the RC hobby and absolutely love it. And these foam models, that one's not particularly cheap. Some of the other ones we had here weren't particularly cheap, but it's only foam, and having fun with friends out on the flight line, there's something quite like it. I have really, really enjoyed it. So, like I said, any questions or comments about these models, please just ask. Keep in the back of your mind, I bought all of these out of my own money. So as such, they're pretty much unbiased as you can make them, in short, because if it's crap, I will tell you. And to be honest, we haven't really had any crap ones. The only one which I really don't like at the moment is the F22, because it just absolutely mullers batteries. 3 minutes, you've got to get it down, otherwise it's killed. Right, Andy Wood says, no little gliders, Matt. No. I've still got 2 Chuck gliders here from before, which I bought off GearBest for like $8. Absolute bargain. And on that note, if I have been and missed any of questions which you've had here in the live version, I do apologise. And it is time for me to wrap up. So on that note, I would like to say thank you for joining me here live. And if you're watching the recorded version, thank you for watching me here in the recorded version as well. If it's your first time here, my name's Matt. Underneath this video where it says Matthew Ogborn, click on the subscribe button and you'll be notified of when part 3 will be out, because we still have some further foam for us to take a look at. And on that note, I'd like to say a massive thank you for joining, and I'm going to wrap up now. So I'm going to go and finish my cup of squash and maybe grab that little Rainbow 600 wing for a little chuck around out the front. So on that note, for myself, Matt, have a great evening, morning or afternoon. Cheerios!